Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Friday. I hope you all have had a great week and are looking forward to the weekend. We're going to do a little bit of a news roundup today, a little bit of a weekly news roundup. There's been a load of things that have gone on in the world of Everton Football Club over the last 7 days, and I thought, you know what, we'll sit down and we'll just talk about them all in one video. We're not going to talk too much on transfer today because I'm aware that there's been a lot of content on the channel recently regarding transfers and players coming in and potential players to come in for the centre midfield position, etc. So we're going to try and move away from transfers. There will be one transfer sort of rumour-ish that we'll be talking about. It's not really a transfer rumour, it's just a bit of information on Moise Kean. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the live stream. But other than that, we're not going to talk too much about transfer rumours. Of course, we will have the Talking Rubbish transfer show on Monday, and we'll dive into all of the latest rumours and mark them on Monday's show. So firstly, listen again. Like I said, it's been an absolutely massive week, obviously, starting off on Monday and starting off with Everton announcing a new 3-year deal with car retailer Cazoo. Cazoo will take over Sport Pisa as the main club sponsor and will feature on all of the kits, on the front of the kit, exactly like Sport Pisa did on the home, away and third, and they'll also feature on the training gear, the leisure gear, and all sorts of stuff like that. They will become the club's main sponsor. Now, we've done a little announcement video on this, but I feel like I didn't really sit down and talk too much on it because there was a load of things regarding transfers and various different situations going on over the last 7 days or so. So we've done a little bit of an announcement video, give a brief opinion on the Cazoo deal, but I want to sit down and talk a little bit more about it in a little bit more detail. If you're watching live, if you're in the live comments, get your thoughts in the live comments about everything that we're talking about as well. If you're enjoying it, if you could please leave a like as well, that would mean a massive amount to me. So just on the Cazoo deal then, obviously it was announced on Monday, 3-year partnership with the car retailer Cazoo, owned by a multi-billionaire, I believe, or a billionaire at the very least. I think he's got around about the same sort of net worth as Farhad Moshiri. He's owned multiple different companies. I think Zoopla was one of the companies that he owned previously, don't quote me on that. And they're obviously coming in to replace Sport Pisa. Now, there was a lot of Evertonians that, again, weren't very happy with the Cazoo deal in a similar way to the Evertonians that weren't very happy with the Hummel deal that was announced just a couple of weeks prior. Listen, for me, in regards to Cazoo, I think, they're a fairly new company, of course. Okay, they're not massively well known and they're not massively well known worldwide. However, they're paying us around about the same amount of money as what Sport Pisa were paying us. I think it's around £9 to £10 million a year. It's a 3-year partnership, and I actually think it's fantastic business by Everton Football Club. I really, really do, because this Cazoo deal, along with the Hummel deal, they're both for 3 years, which means that the last year of both deals will be the season before we move into Bramley-Moore Stadium, obviously on the assumption that everything goes to plan and the planning permission gets accepted and the building of the stadium goes to how Everton presented it a couple of months ago to us. That would mean that the season before we move into the stadium will be the final season for both Cazoo and Hummel, and I think that's really, really good business by Everton Football Club, because what Everton Football Club are ultimately saying there is, listen, you're going to come in Cazoo's case and Hummel's case, you're going to come in for 3 years, and basically you're going to have the chance now to impress us over 3 years. If you do impress us, then we will extend the partnership and you'll be able to present your product or advertise your website or your, manufacturing company, in Hummel's case, all over a brand spanking new 55,000 seater stadium on the docks of Liverpool when Everton move in. Obviously the stadium's going to have a lot of attention, and Everton have effectively said that to those companies, Cazoo being included in that. But also another positive to the deal is that if Everton aren't happy after 3 years, if Everton aren't necessarily impressed by what Cazoo or Hummel have brought us, Everton can then look and go to any other big company, whether it be a USM, whether it be a Megaphone, whether it be another massive worldwide company, and say, listen, we're just about to move into one of the most iconic and one of the most modern stadiums in the Premier League on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey here. Why don't you come and sponsor us, and you can have your product or you can have your company advertised on that stadium. It's an absolutely fantastic business move because it works for everybody. It works for Everton because these companies are coming in purely to provide us with, obviously in Hummel's case, new kits and new products, and in Cazoo's case, a sponsorship, and both companies now have got to go out and effectively show to Everton that they want to be a partner of Everton Football Club in the long run, because Everton know that when it comes to that final year of both contracts, they're going to have a lot more companies and a lot more manufacturing firms that are wanting to get involved with Everton Football Club as we're moving into the new stadium and as we're progressing our football club. And hopefully by then as well, the club will have had some form of success on the pitch with Carlo Ancelotti. So for me, I think business-wise, I think it's a fantastic deal. Again, in terms of financially, listen, it's not too different to the Sport Pizza deal, so it's around about the same amount of money as Sport Pizza were giving us, and I think it was really, really important that we got rid of Sport Pizza sooner rather than later, because we know not only are they a betting company and a company which a lot of football clubs, in a sector that a lot of football clubs are trying to sort of move away from sponsorships because of the restrictions behind kids kits being sponsored by betting companies and all of the different lawsuits and all of that sort of stuff behind betting companies sponsoring football clubs. It was massively important that we moved away from that, but also Sport Pizza, like I briefly mentioned on the reveal video on Monday, on the announcement video on Monday, they weren't great for Everton Football Club whatsoever. They had a number of social media cock-ups when it comes to Everton Football Club. There was points where they were promoting other teams that were playing Everton when Everton were playing in a kit that had their brand splattered all over it. They were promoting Arsenal and various other clubs at different times. So in terms of that connection with the fans, which is massively important, Sport Pizza just never really had it. They never really got that connection. Like I said on Monday, they burnt their bridges with Evertonians fairly quickly because of the way they acted on social media and because of the way they treat other football clubs that they might have had minor sponsorships with over Everton, who obviously they were the main sponsor for. So again, Everton announced that the Sport Pizza deal had been cut short some months ago now, so it was very, very clear that the football club weren't happy with Sport Pizza, and I think that's a combination of both what we've just mentioned, both the fact that we're trying to move away from, betting companies and, companies that have restrictions around where they can be placed and if they can be put on the kids' kits or if they can be advertised on this website or that website. I think we were trying to move away from that. Certainly after, a couple of months ago, Yerry Mina was fined for being involved in a betting advert over in Colombia. It's not a good look for the club that the club's main sponsor is a betting company as well. So I think both that, wanting to move away from that sort of sector in terms of sponsorships, and the fact that, the way that Sport Pizza treated the football club and the fans and the fact they didn't have a really good relationship there, I think that was another big reason as to why we wanted to move away from them. And again, I think we have to look positively about the Kazoo deal. It's a new company. It's a company that we don't know an awful lot about, but they're paying us, £9-10 million a year, which is good. I think we are the highest. It's the highest deal outside of the top six that isn't a betting company, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I heard that the other day. So it's the highest deal for any club outside the top six that isn't sponsored by a betting company. Which is good, and ultimately it gives Kazoo a fresh chance to come in and make that relationship and create that bond and create that rapport with Evertonians. It's something that we're seeing actually from Hummel, obviously, again, who were the new kit manufacturer taking over from Umbro. Something that we're seeing from Hummel is they're actually engaging with fans over social media and they're getting involved, and I think Hummel have done this really, really well, and Everton have done fantastic again to get the Hummel deal over the line, because Hummel are well aware that in England they aren't a big manufacturing firm. They don't manufacture many football clubs kits in England. Okay, in Denmark and abroad and various other countries they might be absolutely massive over there, but in England they're not a massive household name, and Hummel have realised that, and Hummel have appreciated that Everton have put the trust in them and that Everton are the biggest club that they are currently manufacturing for. And what Hummel have done straight away is gone onto social media and started those engagements with Evertonians, started those conversations with Evertonians. And I was thinking about this today in work, actually. If you're enjoying the scene, by the way, so far, please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. Got loads and loads to talk about today, by the way, so don't forget to stay tuned. Like I said, we'll have loads to talk about. But one thing that Hummel have done really, really well since they've come in at Everton Football Club and there's been that partnership is that social media connection with fans. Now, social media is a massive part of football in this day and age. It's a massive part of football. Lots of football fans have got social media. Lots of football fans express their opinions on social media. Look at me, for example. I run an Everton fan channel on social media. Social media is absolutely massive in the world of football in this day and age, and what Hummel have done is Hummel have realised that, and they've gone, right, okay, we've announced our partnership with Everton now. Everton have announced it. Some fans may be a little bit, not too sure about it. So let's get involved with the fans straight away. Let's start having conversations with them. Let's start replying to them, because we're not under any illusion here. Hummel aren't a company with hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, and neither are Kazoo. You know, a lot of Everton fan pages have got more followers on Twitter than Kazoo, and not that that means anything, but one thing that does mean is that if fans are tweeting the company, for example in Hummel's case, to say when's the new kit coming out, what's it going to look like, can you give us any teasers, or Kazoo's, you know, for various other different things, fans are going to look at it and go, well, hang on, they're not a multi, you know, 100,000 plus followers, they haven't got millions of plus followers, so the odds are they're going to see my message and they're either choosing to ignore it, they can't reply for whatever legal reasons, or they're going to put the effort in and reply. And that's something that I've been massively impressed with Hummel so far, is they're replying to Evertonians constantly. The first day, the day that they were announced as Everton's new manufacturer, they replied to an Evertonian stating that, you know, we'd see the new kit within the next couple of weeks. Now, of course, that tweet was taken down because at that point we hadn't announced the partnership with Kazoo, and we still haven't announced whether we're going to be going with Angry Birds or we're going to be getting a new sleeve sponsor for next season. But Hummel, my point is, Hummel were constantly replying to Evertonians, and they still are to this day. And look, there's not much in the replies whatsoever. They might just tweet a winky face and a blue heart back, or a football emoji, or, for example, somebody asked them any details on the kit the other day and they said it'll be blue and white, that's all we can tell you, with a winky face. And that is not giving anything away whatsoever. That's nothing that we don't already know. Of course we know that we'll see the kit revealed within the next couple of weeks or so, because the Premier League's coming back. You know, there's only 9 games to go. That'll probably be done within 3 or 4 weeks max, and then obviously it's going on to the new season. So we know that we're going to see a teaser or a reveal of the new kit within the next couple of weeks or so, and we also know obviously that it's going to be blue and white. So Hummel aren't giving us any information there that we don't know already, but what they're doing is they're creating that connection with the fans. They're replying back to fans. They're allowing fans to go, oh, I'm confident that I can tweet Hummel something here, and they mightn't give me the answer I want. You know, if you tweet them going, show us a picture of the kit now, they're not necessarily going to go, here you go, here's a picture of the kit, but they might reply to you with a little winky face, or they might like it, or they might acknowledge your tweet, they might acknowledge your thoughts on whatever the situation is at that time. And like I said, that is vitally important for me. Social media is a vitally important source for companies, certainly companies that sponsor and work with Everton, to engage with fans, because Everton are fantastic engaging with fans. They do it through Everton in the community, they do it, we've seen it numerous amounts of times since this pandemic, where Carlo Ancelotti's picked the phone up and talked to fans, or Duncan Ferguson's done it. You know, it's really nice to see that our partnerships and our companies, the companies that are partnering with us, are doing the same thing as well. And Hummel are doing that fantastically. And like I said, I think Hummel have seen that some Evertonians were maybe a little bit wary of them and what they're going to bring and how good the designs will be and how nice the kits will be. And they've gone, right, okay, well, we're going to get in the good books here. We're going to reply to fans. We're going to make sure that fans know that if they've got any concerns, they can put them to us and they'll be dealt with. If they want to put any suggestions, we'll take them into consideration. Unlike previous sponsors in Sport Peas or Umbro, for example. Again, I don't want to throw certain companies under the bus, but I never really seen it with Umbro, and I never really seen it an awful lot with Sport Peas, where fans were tweeting constantly, fans were tweeting ideas, fans were wanting information, and they were just getting totally ignored. And maybe sort of makeshift statement was put out on the social media to address everybody rather than addressing fans individually. And like I said, it mightn't be big to a lot of you. A lot of you might be sitting there thinking, Cam, you're just rambling on about Hummel tweeting a couple of emojis out, you're chatting shit. But for me, I think it's vitally important, because it shows that they're willing to create that connection with Evertonians. And yeah, okay, listen, Hummel have already designed and probably manufactured the home, third and away kit for this season, so any fan designs that are being put to them probably aren't going to be taken into consideration, because I dare say that they've got the final designs ready. But it doesn't mean that next season or halfway through this season, if an Everton fan who makes kit designs on Twitter throws a kit design at Hummel and says, listen, I really like this, doesn't mean that Hummel won't then go, actually, you know what, for next season's kit, we haven't got a solid design yet, maybe we'll look at that. Obviously then, we're probably not going to see any fan designs this summer, because the kits will already be in production and already be getting made. But for future seasons, having that social media connection with fans means that fans will be able to put the kits or put the designs or put their ideas to Hummel, and Hummel will likely take them on board, because that's what we're seeing so far. So I think that's fantastic. And again, we have to give Kazoo we have to give Kazoo a fair shot, exactly like we said about Hummel. For me, they're paying us similar amounts, very near enough the same amount of sport peas away, and as long as they come in and they create a good relationship, they create a good rapport with Evertonians, if they handle themselves in the correct way and they become a good sponsor for Everton, then I don't mind if a copite standing there going, "Way, use Kazoo, way, that have it with the couch and that." I don't give a shit if that's the case, because at the end of the day, they're paying us the money that they need to pay us. It's on a contract which we'll see it either expire when we're moving into a fantastic new stadium, or if they've impressed, they'll be able to get an extension. And as long as they carry themselves, professionally, and like I said, they don't follow in the footsteps of Sport Pisa, for example, then I think we'll be all good on that one. So let me know your thoughts on the new Kazoo deal in a little bit more detail in the comments section down below, as well as the Hummel deal, because we've just spoken about that. Anyway, we're getting to the live comments surely. Moving on swiftly to the next topic for today. Both topics sort of lead into each other here. One of them is a little bit of injury news. We posted a video yesterday. Don't usually post a video on Thursdays, but I recorded a little video on Wednesday about my frustration with the fact that a lot of Everton players seem to be getting injured at the moment, and a lot of Everton players seem to be coming out of training with injuries. We've seen Andre Gomez, John-Philippe Gbamin, Yerry Mina, Fabian Delph, now we will talk about in a second, all sort of come out of Theo Walcott, another one, all sort of come out of training with quite a significant injury that'll see them miss the restart of the Premier League. So we uploaded a little video on that yesterday, and I recorded it on Wednesday, and since it's been recorded, Everton have confirmed that Fabian Delph is now doubtful to play in the Merseyside derby after picking up a muscle strain and has missed part of training this week. Now, again, when this was sort of announced on Twitter, there wasn't too many Evertonians that were particularly bothered, and I think that's because of the fact that Fabian Delph hasn't had a massive impact at Everton so far. Again, similar to what we were just talking about Sport Pisa, he hasn't created the greatest relationship with Evertonians by arguing over social media and coming out with stupid outlandish statements like "could you do better" and all of that shite. But anyway, regardless of what you think of Fabian Delph, and regardless of whether you would want him to start in a Premier League game anyway, or you want him to be your first midfielder in the team, whether you like him or not, and whether you'd want him to play or not, Fabian Delph's injury means that Everton are now another player down when it comes to the return of the Premier League next Sunday. We're literally 9 days away from the return of Premier League football. We play a Merseyside derby at Goodison Park in 9 days, and we've got another player injured. That's 5 players currently out injured, and the only one that I think has got a little bit of hope as to possibly return before that Merseyside derby is Andre Gomez. Now that's 4 players out injured in a situation where we're going to have to put to the FA and put to the Premier League a 20-man squad for that game. Now, again, I pretty much said all of this on yesterday's video, so I don't want to talk too much about the injury, but it's getting to a point now where Everton are releasing the training photos and videos of the players, and you go, "Oh, boss, get on Richarlison, smash on one into the top corner there, get on Leighton Baines, looking boss as usual." But then in the back of your mind, you're sort of thinking, please don't come out in 2 or 3 hours time and say that somebody else has picked up an injury, because we really can't afford it. We're already going to see a lot of young players on the bench, and maybe even potentially getting Premier League minutes when the Premier League returns, that haven't even had any first team experience before. We're already going to see that because of the players that have gone out injured. We do not need any more players out injured. Seriously, it is getting worrying now. It really is. And again, like I said, it was announced yesterday that Fabian Delph had picked up an injury, and he is likely to miss the return of the Premier League, and that means that again, only Andre Gomez out of the players I've just mentioned, he's the only one that may be fit to return against Liverpool. Yerry Mina we're probably not going to see, Jean-Philippe Gbamin we definitely won't see, Theo Walcott we definitely won't see, and Fabian Delph we definitely won't see. And regardless of whatever you think of those players, and whether you think they should be starting, whether you think they're good enough to start, they are first teamers in regards to the fact that they would be in the first team squad every week for Premier League games for Everton Football Club, and now they can't be, and we need to field a bigger a match day squad than we usually do. So again, a little bit worrying, but just thought to give a little bit of an update on that. Like I said, if you haven't checked out the video yesterday where I give me full thoughts and opinions on the current injury situation and crisis at Calvert-Lewin Everton Football Club, check that out after today's live stream. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Just hit 1,800 subscribers as well, so a massive thank you for all of your support. It means an absolute massive amount to me, honestly. It really does. I never thought that nearly 2 years ago when I created this channel. I never thought that I'd be sitting down one day with over 1,800 people who were interested in watching me ramble on about Everton. So thank you all very, very much. We're aiming towards that 2,000 subscriber mark now, so if you could hit the subscribe button, it would mean a massive amount to me. Anyway, getting into the next topic before we dive into the live comments. Breaking news, again, this was announced on Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday I think it was. The Merseyside derby will be played at Goodison Park on June the 21st. Just teased it a little bit there, but it is now confirmed the Merseyside derby will be played at Goodison Park. There was multiple discussions as to whether it's safe to be played at Goodison Park and whether it'll be played at a neutral stadium. Discussions with the police and Liverpool City Council, even to a point where, there was at one point where it was believed that, the decision wasn't going to be made until after Manchester City play Arsenal on the 17th of June. It is now confirmed that the Merseyside derby will be played at Goodison Park. Both Everton and Liverpool have welcomed the decision by the City Council to allow remaining Premier League games to be played on their home grounds. And I think, again, this is really, really positive for Everton. And I know a lot of Evertonians, and whenever I talk about the Merseyside derby, I've done a live stream on it last week, and we spoke about it, and a lot of fans have got the sort of opinion of who cares, who gives a shit, it doesn't matter, we can't go to the stadium anyway, we can't go to the ground, we can't go to the pub to watch it, so who cares where the game's held, who cares where it's held. I think it does have an impact. I think it has an impact. Again, it allows Everton now to be able to, hopefully, as long as the Premier League and everybody agrees, to hopefully be able to play the siren before the game with Z cars, hopefully be able to have the banners that we're used to having in the Gladys Street, etc., and make the ground seem a little bit more homely. Even if we don't put cardboard cutouts of the fans, let's make it as horrible for Liverpool Football Club as we possibly can. And look, that's going to be very, very difficult, because ultimately we're sitting in a time where fans can't go to the stadium, and fans are a massive, massive part of football. They are an absolute vital part of football. In fact, football without fans is absolutely nothing whatsoever. It's nothing. It's not even worth watching. The Bundesliga has proved that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that football without fans, unless you're watching your football club and the team you support, it isn't even worth watching. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And the Merseyside derby is certainly a game, and especially a game where fans have a massive, massive effect on both Everton and Liverpool. We've seen many Liverpool teams come to Goodison Park in the past with good players who've just absolutely shat themselves at Goodison Park because of the atmosphere, and I've seen many, many average Everton squads lift their level of performance because of the fans are behind them. Now, of course, that won't be the case next week because of the obviously the behind closed doors setting, but I think we still need to do absolutely as much as possible to make it as hard and as difficult as possible for Liverpool Football Club. And if that means the siren and Z cards before the game, if that means banners in the stadium, if that means crowd noise, if that's gets permitted by the Premier League, if that means anything else, we need to make it as hard as possible for Liverpool Football Club and as easy as possible for our players as well. And also, listen, taking away from the whole atmospheric situation and discussion about it, for me, I think it's a positive for the players anyway. They're playing on their home ground. They're playing at the stadium that they used to playing at. There's not shitloads of travelling up to Southampton or Villa, where it was rumoured to be played if it wasn't going to be Goodison Park. They don't have that travelling whatsoever. They're getting changed in the changing room that they used to being changed in, and they're playing on the pitch that they used to playing in. Granted, they haven't played on it for a matter of months, but it's still more beneficial than playing in St Mary's, trust me. And I know a lot of fans might think that, and a lot of fans might be under the impression that who cares where it's played, fans can't go to the stadium anyway, so what does it matter? It does matter. It really, really does matter, because I think what we're going to see is we're going to see an Everton team coming out of Goodison Park who are going to want to win that Merseyside derby, and like I said, hopefully we can make some form of atmosphere out of it, even without the fans. And I know for certain that I'm going to be more comfortable watching Everton play Liverpool at Goodison than I would be watching Everton play Liverpool at St Mary's. It just wouldn't sit right to me. It really, really wouldn't. So there is another bit of breaking news coming out of this week. Like I said, we covered all of this news on our Twitter account, so if you don't follow us on Twitter, I highly, highly recommend following us over there. We're doing a little bit of a news weekly roundup today, obviously, because we spoke a lot about transfers and various other things over the last couple of days, injuries and stuff on the channel, but we cover all of this news as and when it happens over on our Twitter account. So if you don't follow us on Twitter, it's at MightyBluesYT, and Instagram as well, MightyBluesEFC. We covered it all on Instagram as well. Those links are in the description below. If you could go over there, check us out, follow us over there as well. It'd mean a massive amount to me. Anyway, that's the biggest sort of bit of news I'd say from this week, is the Merseyside derby confirmed will be played at Goodison Park. Anyway, before we go on to talking about how amazing Everton Football Club are. Again, say this every single time I talk about Everton near enough, and I will not stop saying it until the moment that I have no breath in my lungs. Until the moment I have no air in my lungs and I can't breathe, I will not stop telling everybody how amazing Everton Football Club are. And we'll go on to talking about why in just a second, but let me get into the live comments and see what everybody is saying. Wimmy says, Cam lad, how's everyone doing? I'm not too bad, Wimmy, I hope you're doing well. Gord says, I hope with the new kit manufacturer and kit sponsor, just the start of Everton being back to being in Europe. I hope so, mate. Listen, it's positive times ahead. It really, really is positive times ahead. DBZ says, how do you think that transport link from Liverpool City to the new ground? I think there'll be some form of train. There'll probably be buses as well, match day buses like there are now, but I think there could potentially be some sort of train underground line that's already, sort of at Bramley-Moore dock from years and years ago, which could be resurfaced. But again, that's all going to be part of the plan, and the planning for the new stadium is how fans are going to be able to get to the stadium safely. So I'm sure we'll find out more and more information on that in the coming weeks and months. Eugene says, latest on Schneiderlin and Everton, one prolific striker, David from the Liverpool Echo. Again, we'll be talking about Morgan Schneiderlin in Monday's Talking Rubbish transfer show. Don't want to talk an awful lot about transfers today, but it looks like Morgan Schneiderlin could be on his way to Nice in France. Apparently, Everton are currently negotiating a deal with Nice, and the player is keen on the move. But like I said, we'll talk more about that on Monday. Wimmy says, staying now, Eugene, on the account of we have no players, we are broken. That's a good point. Just answered that. Ananda says, where do you think we'll end up at the end of the season, as we have so many players injured at this point and have so many games in so little time? It sucks because there are high stakes money wise. I think we'll probably end up 9th or 10th, if I'm being honest with you, mate. And you know what? At this point, I'm happy to just say, take 9th or 10th, move on, and look forward to next season. Because this season, let's be perfectly honest, it's done, isn't it? It's done and dusted. There's nothing much in it. They need to get it finished because of how much money's in it, and because of the integrity of the league, or whatever that means. But in regards to Everton Football Club, there's not a lot for us to fight for, is there? We can fight for European place, but ultimately, I think let's just get this season over and done with, and then look forward to going on to next season. Hernandez says, make the uppy thumb blue, guys. Yeah, if you could hit the like button, it mean a massive amount to me. Hernandez says, all the best, mate. Hope you and yours are well. We're not too bad, mate. I hope you're well as well. Wimmy says, I reckon we will hold our position there or thereabouts, Hernandez, but the club needs to address all of these personal issues. Can we have royal blue with razor blue strong lines? Imagine that. Eugene says, Sky Sports to introduce crowd noise for Premier League return. There you go again. Let's have the Everton crowd absolutely ripping the Liverpool crowd to bits for the entire game. Where are we then? Wimmy says, Eugene at games are providing the soundbites from FIFA 20. Ooh, don't know about that. That's me dad drilling downstairs, if you can hear that. Sorry about that. And Andy says, I really hope we can stay around where we are now, but the new rule changes and subs and injuries, it's going to be a big struggle. I agree. And Wimmy says, but so you might have to spend 20 quid on FIFA points to buy packs, and hope you get the sound card you want. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it worked like that, mate. Wouldn't surprise me if it worked like that. Anyway, moving on to, again, like I mentioned briefly before, why Everton Football Club are the greatest football club in the world. And I mean that solely from the bottom of my heart. And obviously, there's bias behind that, because I'm an Evertonian, and it's very, very clear that I'm going to think that Everton Football Club are the best football club in the world. But I honestly mean this from the bottom of my heart. We really, really are. So, if you didn't know, a couple of days ago, I think it was on Wednesday, or Tuesday, sorry, Everton, it was announced, and it wasn't announced by Everton. Everton didn't put this everywhere. Everton didn't release this as a big media ploy. It's simply, I think it come from the Liverpool Echo, or other people that are involved at Everton. Like I said, it didn't come from Everton Football Club whatsoever, but it was announced that Everton players have voluntarily agreed to a 50% pay deferral for the next 3 months. It has also emerged that Carlo Ancelotti and the 9 members of his coaching staff have reduced their wages by 30% since the pandemic took hold in March. Now, for anybody that doesn't think that's a massive issue, you only have to look at the rest of the Premier League football clubs and tell me which Premier League football clubs players are taking a 50% pay cut and whose managers are taking a 30% pay cut and have been doing since March. And the reason the players and the managers and the coaching staff are doing this is to help the club's finances, because of what's going on in the world currently. And we know finance and financial issues are massive now because of the current pandemic and the current situation of the world. And we know that, again, even when we're talking about transfers and transfer fees, they're probably not going to be as high as they usually are because of, you know, the financial issues in the world at the moment. And to hear that come out, and to hear it come out from somebody that isn't the Everton admin or isn't the official Everton account, Everton haven't gone out there and gone, look at us, look how fantastic we are, look at how amazing our players and our staff are. They haven't at all. This has come from somebody that's obviously got the information and thought, you know what, this deserves to be shared, this needs to be shared. It mightn't have been the Echo, don't quote me on that, it might have been somebody else. I haven't got it written down, sorry. But it's come from somebody who's gone, you know what, this deserves the immediate attention, because Everton are literally just doing this type of amazing work behind the scenes and not expecting any recognition for it. But you know what, it absolutely deserves all of the recognition in the world, because Everton players, they may get some stick and they may get some, you know, stick on the pitch for the performances, etc. But they come out and have taken a 50% pay cut for the next 3 months. Which again, I know, listen, in the grand scheme of things, if you're a football player on 100 grand a week and you're taking a 50% pay cut, you're on 50 grand a week, big wow, you know, 200 grand a month. It's not awful, is it? Let's be perfectly honest. But again, it's something, and it's quite significant as well. It really, really is quite significant. These footballers still have houses to pay for, families to pay for, cars to pay for, big, you know, lush lifestyle to pay for, and this is absolutely massive. Carlo Ancelotti as well is in 9 coaching staff, members of the coaching staff taking a 30% pay cut and have done since the beginning of March. Again, just shows what a fantastic football club. And when there was all of those conversations about, you know, the Premier League maybe putting to clubs that they may have to take a wage deferral in order to help, you know, other teams, or in order to basically, you know, get back some of the money that they're losing. There was a lot of Premier League clubs, I'm not going to sit here to name names, but there was a lot of Premier League clubs, and there was a lot of Premier League players that weren't happy with that. They weren't happy to take any deferral. They weren't happy to have their wages cut. They weren't happy to get less money than what they're all than what they're getting. But obviously, it appears now that Everton from day one have said, yeah, listen, we'll take the pay cut, 30% for Ancelotti and the coaching staff, 50% for players for the next 3 months. We'll take it, and we won't even talk about it. We won't even announce it. We'll just move on, because, you know, we're helping the club out. We're helping everybody else out. We're helping ourselves out, and ultimately, we just need to accept it and move on. And that is why we are the best football club in the world. And like I said, I will say this until the moment I have no air in my lungs. Everton Football Club are the greatest football club in the world. We really and really truly are. The players to take a 50% pay deferral is massive, and again, it's going to help the club massively as well, because we are in a financial, you know, we are in a scary financial situation currently. Everton Football Club has spent hundreds of millions of pounds over the last 6 or 7 years on, let's be perfectly honest, quite frankly, a load of shite from previous regimes under Ronald Koeman, Steve Walsh, even Roberto Martinez, Sam Allardyce, Marco Silva. These are all managers and directors of football that we've brought in, paid an awful lot of money for, and ultimately have been shite. Not to mention the whole plethora of players that were brought in for hundreds of millions of pounds collectively that haven't done anything. So Everton are in I wouldn't say we're in a bad financial situation, but we're not in a fantastic financial situation. And the fact that the coaching staff and the managers and the players have recognised that and are happy to take a deferral in wages in order to help that, and in order to potentially allow us to maybe go and spend that little bit more money in the transfer window to improve the squad, it's massive. And it just shows what a family football club we are, and just how amazing, like I said, the players are, the managers are, and, you know, at the end of the day, it just shows how fantastic we are as a football club, doesn't it, really? And listen, like I said, I'll say it from the top of my lungs until the day that I die. Everton Football Club are the best football club in the world. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit the like button. It only takes a second. And don't forget to share the live stream as well. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Share it on social media, Twitter, etc. all over. Let's get as many people in here. On to another reason as to why Everton Football Club, again, are the greatest football club in the world. Everton released a letter a couple of days ago from CEO Denise Barrett-Baxendale. I just want to read you some of that letter. It was a 3-page letter. I'm going to read you a little bit off the back page. Denise Barrett-Baxendale said, "We are such a special club. I am delighted to confirm those fan donations arising from the season ticket and lounge member refund proceeds are set to secure almost £400,000 for the Blue Family campaign." Now, if you're unaware of that, basically Everton give the fans, season ticket holders and lounge members, lost me words there, an option, basically when it was made quite aware that, you know, we weren't going to be able to go back to Goodison Park this season. Everton Football Club basically give the fans an option as to either one of three options. You can get your money back, they calculated how much money each ticket will be worth for the remaining however many games of the season at Goodison Park, and they said you can either give your money back, you can give it to charity, or you can hand it over to next season for money off your next year's season ticket. And you could do that in various different ways. You could give half of it to Everton in the community and put half of it for next season. You could give half of it to Everton in the community and get half of it back. You could do many different things. So Everton Football Club delighted to announce that almost £400,000 was raised from fans donating to Everton in the community from basically saying, listen, I don't want my money back, or I want it to go to Everton in the community, which is, again, absolutely fantastic. She then went on to say, Denise Barrett-Baxendale then went on to say, once I shared this news with our owner, Mr. Mashiri, and our chairman, Mr. Kenwright, they were so moved by the magnificent fan gesture that they immediately insisted on uniting to match every pound raised by our fans for the Blue Family campaign. So that's £800,000 going to the Blue Family campaign and Everton in the community, purely from Everton fans giving back some of the money that they, you know, could have chosen to take for themselves and chosen to say, yeah, I want me refund. Instead, they've gone, no. And I done it as well. I done it with some of my season ticket money, not to say, oh, look at me, I'm boss, you know, look how good I am. Not to say that at all, but a lot of Evertonians have gone, no, you know what? Put it to Everton in the community, give it to the Blue Family campaign. I wouldn't have had it anyway if I'd have been going the game. And that's amounted to £400,000. And Farhad Mashiri and Bill Kenwright have decided to match that. So that's £800,000 going to the Blue Family campaign purely off that one initiative. And again, it makes me so proud to be a fan of this football club. And no matter how many times we lose in the 90th minute, no matter how many times, you know, players don't turn up and we have a discussion on the team about how shite a certain player is, or how poor we are, or how, you know, we look dreadful, no matter how many times that happens, and it has happened over the last 21 years of my life, I still sit down and think, I am so proud to be a fan of this amazing football club. Again, I'll reiterate my point from before, we are the best football club on the planet. Not only fans in giving back to the community and giving back to everything in the community by saying, you know what, you know, we're happy to give to charity and obviously raising almost £400,000, but then Farhad Mashiri and Bill Kenwright from their own pocket saying, no, you know what, we're going to match that and we're going to make it up to £800,000 for Everton in the community. It truly is, it truly is absolutely amazing. And again, it just makes me so proud to be an Evertonian. It really does. If you're enjoying the scene, by the way, please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. I just want to read you the last couple of paragraphs from the letter from Denise Barrett-Baxendale. So in the last couple of paragraphs she said, so our attention now turns to the 25th of June and the return of the Premier League season and the Merseyside derby. We will not be together for the match, but I know the Everton spirit will be alive, and flourishing. So at 7 p.m. on the 21st of June, when Z Cars plays for the first time in 3 months and the tears of pride are welling up in our eyes, please be part of making this new chapter of our Everton history by experiencing the first ever behind closed doors Merseyside derby safely, watching your own homes with loved ones. I know every Evertonian will be right behind Carlo and our boys in the royal blue jersey when that whistle blows. Come on, you Blues. Warmest wishes, Denise. And you know what? I just want to give so much props to Denise Barrett-Baxendale, not only for this letter, but for all of the work that she's done since coming in as Everton Football Club CEO. Because previously we had the CEO, and I'm not going to mention his name and I'm not going to go too much into him, but we previously had the CEO who didn't get involved with fans, wasn't really interested in how the fans felt, wasn't really interested in, you know, much really other than the financial situation behind Everton Football Club. Denise Barrett-Baxendale has come in and she has shown that she is an Evertonian, as well as me, as well as Wormy, as well as Eugene, as well as Hernandez, as well as everybody. I've just picking those out because they're the names that I can see on my screen currently. As well as every single person watching this live stream now, she is an Evertonian ultimately, and she has come in. And that letter, every time I read it, and it's probably going to sound stupid, but every time I read it, I get emotional. Because just the little things like when Z Cars plays for the first time in 3 months and the tears of pride are welling up in our eyes, it just shows how connected she is to us as a fan base and how connected she is to Everton Football Club. She's not just a businesswoman, she's not just a CEO, she's not just a woman who sits in an office filling in paperwork. She is an Evertonian, and she's an Evertonian running our football club, and she's done it fantastically well for the time she's been at the football club as well. And I think the letter's absolutely amazing. I think the donations are absolutely amazing, and again, it just adds to me, me reason as to why we are the greatest football club in the world. It really, really does. Anyway, we'll get into the live comments now before we go on to talking about the final topic of today and ultimately finishing up the live stream. Whammy said I was hopeful for the derby, but in typical Everton fashion, we'll be playing with no Mina and either Delph and Sigurdsson or Sigurdsson and Schneiderlin. Not the best, really. It's not, mate. It's not. But we have to work with what we've got, don't we? Ultimately, Wimmy says, but at least these games are fairly irrelevant for us. Get the transfers in. Let the next season see what the next season brings. Spot on. Eugene says no masks for players and no masks for ball boys when the Premier League restarts. I'm not surprised, mate, with that. And Ander says, when are you going to start selling your Mighty Blues gear? Do you like this? Do you like this jumper? If you like this jumper, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're genuinely interested in me selling, merchandise or Everton style clothing or whatever, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I'll we'll discuss it. My girlfriend actually designed this. I won't say the wife then. My girlfriend actually designed this hoodie and various other different, bits of Mighty Blues sort of merch you've seen me wearing over the last few months, and the glass that you see me holding up as well. So she's absolutely boss at doing that. So if you're interested in any of that, let me know in the comments, and I'll we'll have a little discussion. I'll have a discussion with her, and we'll see where we can go from there. Whammy says, are they putting cardboard cutouts in the stand? I think they should do put them things that have a fan at the bottom and wave around. The way it will be hilarious. The little Zoom calls, we don't know what they're doing ultimately at the moment. Again, I'm sure that's all in discussion about how they can incorporate fans into the Premier League when it returns. So we don't know 100% yet, but that's all in the discussion, I assume. And Ander says, Coleman on Everton starting spot, battle Everton website. Wayne says, play tapes of the crowd singing our songs during the game. Yes, it would be fantastic if they could do that. Mitchell says, deferral cam, not a cut. They will still be paid the full amount just at a later date. Sorry, that's me. Not quite understanding what was meant by deferral. There you go. But still fantastic that they're taking that deferral now and willing to, obviously, to do that, because there was a lot of Premier League football clubs who weren't willing to do that. Thanks for clearing that up, Mitchell. Eugene says Premier League players will have George Floyd on their minds, say psychologist Stephen Sylvester in Sky Sports News. I'm sure they will. I believe they'll be wearing armbands as well as maybe special shirts, I think I read, which obviously, listen, is the least they can do for the Black Lives Matter movement. It's imperial. It's absolutely necessary that Premier League footballers, players with that level of fame and that level of exposure and influence on generations, it's vitally important that they spread the positive message, and they spread the message that this needs to stop. Violence against race needs to stop. It's utterly disgusting. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want to get too political, but it's utterly disgusting that people can be targeted and attacked and even murdered in this case just simply for the colour of their skin. It makes me sick. It honestly makes me sick. So it's vital that Premier League footballers and footballers all around the globe, get involved with the Black Lives Matter movement and speak up for what's right, and educate themselves as well, as we all need to do as well. Mitchell says cut indicates a loss of pay. Sorry, my bad. Craig Knight says we do a lot off the pitch, which is great. We are the best at that, but we need to start doing it on the pitch. I agree. Eugene says here's your Friday Royal Blue podcast. Haven't seen it yet. Wayne says, when will we see our new kit cam? Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you, mate. Listen, I think, again, obviously we were waiting on the new sponsor and the new kit sponsor because we knew it wasn't going to be Sport Pisa. We now know it's going to be Kazoo. I dare say the club or Hummel are waiting for the club to make a decision, or we're waiting for an announcement as a fan base on as to whether the club will be sticking with Angry Birds for next season or going with a different sleeve sponsor. So we're waiting on that one, and I think then we'll see sort of some new the new kit. Sorry. Eugene says no one wants Jolie and Lescott. I'm not too sure that me. Wayne says I wasn't sure, Cam, but you've convinced me we're the best football club. There you go. He also says conspiracy hoodies, fraudulent slip on the wife comment. The wife, the girlfriend, the wife. She is the wife. Wimmy says hey, Jess, and Jess says hey, Wimmy. Anyway, moving on to the final thing I want to talk about before we finish the live stream, before we end up here. This is regarding Moise Kean. There's been a lot of rumours regarding Moise Kean over the last couple of weeks and months or so. A lot of journalists strongly suggesting that he will join Roma. However, we have had it confirmed by Roma's sporting director, Gianluca Patrici, and also Fabrizio... oh my God, I've lost his last name. Romano, is it? Romano? I've completely lost his last name. The Italian journalist for Sky Sports, who's very, very trusted. Anyway, Roma sporting director Gianluca Patisi has said that Moise Kean is not a target for us. We never started any talks with Everton to sign him. There you go. So every single discussion we've had about Moise Kean and then potentially joining Roma and him leaving Everton this summer has been exactly what we believed it would be, and that is utter bollocks from the media to try and spin a story, basically to try and sell a player on Everton's behalf. Moise Kean, again, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I'll say it again, isn't going anywhere this season, and he certainly isn't going to Roma, as confirmed there. But again, we'll talk more about Moise Kean in Monday's live stream on the Talking Rubbish Transfer Show. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Massive thank you to everybody for getting involved today. Really do appreciate it. If you could hit the subscribe button, it'd mean a massive amount to me. If you did the like button as well, if you've enjoyed, if you've got involved in the live comments, massive thank you to everybody for getting involved. If you're watching a YouTube video as well, please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll get involved with as many of them as possible as well. Wimmy says, I want a mug that has a picture of flat earth on one side and the other side says it's a conspiracy. Well, might have to have a little look at that. Josephine says, Everton forever. Certainly. And Andy says, Wimmy, I'll take a mug with the Queen as a lizard person and the conspiracy on the other side. Bloody hell, getting ideas flying here. Josephine also says, we're going to beat Liverpool next week. I hope so, mate. And Wimmy says, I'm telling you, get on the mugs. I'll have a look, mate. I'll have a look. And Josephine says, what about Juventus versus AC Milan? What about it? I don't. Is that this weekend? I'm not too sure. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Whammy says Everton will beat Liverpool next Sunday. I hope so, mate. I hope so. He also says, see you back at the Toffees and see you Monday. Yeah, we'll be live 5:15 on Monday for another Talking Rubbish Transfer Show, so don't forget to join us for that one. Big thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon on The Mighty Blues.